Let's now turn to the advisory. New research by industry super fund Cbus shows young workers are highly engaged in their financial future. It's also launched a new campaign called Build Your Something to encourage Australians to make smart choices about investment. Let's unpack it. Bernie Dean is the Chief Strategy Officer at Cbus, joins us now. Bernie, welcome to AusBiz. Good to have you on the show. So what is this reflecting? Perhaps young workers more engaged? Why is that?
Oh, well, we've seen a huge shift over the last decade or so in the level of engagement and the age at which people are engaged in wealth creation. So our research is showing us that about 80%, more than 4 out of 5 of our members, are actively considering the best ways to build their wealth at a much earlier age. So under 25, they are looking around for wealth management vehicles, and that is a big shift that we've seen over the last 1.5 to 2 decades, and we need to be there where those members are. You know, this Cbus is a fund that over 2/3 of the members that are joining us are under the age of 30 and 35, and so we need to be at that point demonstrating that a fund with a really strong performance history is a smart choice for them as they start their career and move through wealth creation as they age.
So, Bernie, this is not just talking about super, but more broadly, opportunities to build your wealth.
That's right. What we're finding is that at a lot earlier, workers, especially in building and construction, are alive to the different ways in which you can build wealth. Whether it's the advent of things like the investment platforms that are openly available online, I think other things that are driving the gamification of investments. What we're finding is that once they get out of their 20s, super really does float to the top in terms of being a sustainable and responsible and effective way to build wealth for them and their families. But at an earlier age, they're open to any offers, and we need to make sure that when it comes to joining a fund that is going to help them save as they move through their working life, that Cbus is a really good partner.
Yeah, it's interesting to examine those different phases in life and the outcomes that you're looking for. So, obviously, talking about young workers new to the workforce, what of those aged between 25 and 34 you're seeing perhaps that's building longer term wealth decisions there, particularly with a focus then on superannuation?
Yes, it's quite intuitive actually. The research shows that as you age and you move through those life stages that many of us go through, where your risk appetite when you're very young moderates when you might partner and then build a family, and you've got pressures around you aside from just earning money. You've got to think about saving money. You might have a mortgage, and so as people move into their 30s and into their late 30s and early 40s, you can see that they are interested in long-term, responsible ways to build wealth. And then once you get past your 40s and into your 50s, you might have kids that are moving out. Logically, you're starting to see the finish line, and that's when we find a real uptick in engagement around what retirement might look like. So it's happening a lot earlier, and especially for our members, they're engaged in work that means that their bodies actually get pretty tired out, and they're often having to knock off work a bit earlier. And so the creation of wealth through that period between 40 and 55 is actually critically important, and that comes through in our research. And the campaign that we put into market, while it's squarely focused on making sure that young people and young tradies know that we're a good partner, we're also upping our game on the pre-retirement phase by making sure that we've got advice, investment products, income stream products that are suited to our tradies as they move into the retirement phase of their life.
Yeah, I was going to pick you up on that, given the limited longevity, if you like, in the workforce for those labour-intensive jobs. Obviously, key to that are many of your members then. So does that perhaps put further pressure on them that they need, greater sort of balances at an earlier age because they're perhaps, 65 is very much the maximum, but probably earlier than that?
Yeah, our research shows us, and also our membership data shows us that our members, our tradies out there in building and construction jobs, they are earning good coin a lot earlier than a lot of their mates. And they are building their balance very quickly, very early. And so this campaign is about showing them that as they move through their life, these early stages of investing in superannuation are critical. We are finding also that as our members get towards their late 40s and early 50s, they are very keen on advice about how their private savings, their superannuation can interact with the pension system. That is critical for our members at this stage. I think it'll be less critical for the young tradie that's joining Cbus today because they're going to be taking greater contributions from their employer, going into really good long-term products that can age with them, and that they're probably looking at a much higher balance by the time they reach retirement. But for our existing members that are nearing retirement, it's critical that they get advice and support about how they can combine their superannuation balance with any government pension entitlements.